everybody, I'm Chris.
I'm Adrian.
And I'm Jimmy.
Welcome to Worldview Finder podcast episode 38.
That's a weird way to say that.
That was.
I don't know. Worldview Finder. It is a podcast. Episode 38. We did it, guys. We made it to 38. So today, I don't know if you guys are ready for this, but we're talking about how Hollywood is tricking you into watching their movies again.
You guys keep falling for it.
Every time. We're talking about love in the liver.
Love in the what?
Wow,
So
that's a good hook. I'm going to stick around for that one.
I mean, maybe love isn't from the heart anymore. Maybe it's from the liver.
From the liver, okay.
It was the liver?
I don't know. I'm just making up. And then, but first, I don't know. We're talking about the new Avatar
Last Airbender.
live action remake.
Yeah.
So we've all gotten to see various parts of it. So, Jimmy, you watched the whole thing.
I watched all of it. Me and Malia, one of the perks of not having kids is you can watch as much Netflix as you want. So we watched all of it.
Good old days.
Yeah. And Adrian, you did watch
watched the first episode.
And I've watched the first two. So,
Okay.
yeah, so for those of you that aren't familiar with the Avatar universe, not the blue people, Avatar.
That's true.
Avatar: The Last Airbender was first a Disney, or not Disney, Nickelodeon. That's the word I'm looking for. Nickelodeon cartoon. It was 3 seasons, and it told a complete story, and it was fantastic. So
yeah, we have seen it. We've seen the cartoon.
And I've seen bits and pieces of it. I've not watched it all the way through. Actually, after finishing the live action version, we're going back and watching the cartoon version.
Nice.
Back into it. So then there was an M. Night Shyamalan movie that was supposed to be a trilogy of all the, I think it was a movie for each season.
Oh, okay.
And they made the first one, and that's what made me watch the cartoon series. So, because my friend Jeff was like, hey, you should watch the cartoon. I was like, it's a cartoon on Nickelodeon. I'm like, I'll watch this. And then I started and I was like, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then when by the time I got into season 2, my wife started watching it because she was like, she would see bits and pieces of it as I was watching it. She's like, I want to watch this.
Yeah.
So,
All of my friends watched it in college. That was like a show that we'd binge together.
did I tell you to watch it or were you already watching it?
I think so. I think you did tell us to watch it.
It was so good. So I was a little bit worried about the live action remake because the movie was doo-doo butter. It was the worst.
Wow.
You have kids.
Yeah.
Specifically boys that are 6 years old.
So I did not like the movie at all because it took away the humor.
Was it live action as well?
Yeah, it was a live action movie. It took away the humor, which was a big part of the show. The acting was just not great because I think they used newer people. And I just remember a part where this girl's got her arms out like, but please help us. And just the way I was like, nobody does that. It was just that's the only part of that movie I remember. And I just remember being really mad at it because I was like, the cartoon was so good and you ruined it, M. Night. And I like M. Night, but yeah, shout out to M. Night. So I was a bit worried going into this, and I'll say I was pleasantly surprised. What about you guys? Did you enjoy it or?
Now, I will say that I texted you guys this. So I was at home by myself and I'm like, oh, okay, I've got some time on my hands. Let me watch this. And I played probably the first 6 minutes of it. And then I kind of lost interest. And I'm like, I'll just watch YouTube videos instead.
Oh, man.
But I think that's just because I typically don't watch TV shows or movies by myself.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch YouTube. But once me and Malia started watching it together, we actually really enjoyed it. To the point where we were going to watch another show after it. And then after we finished the first episode, Malia's like, well, we're invested now, so we have to keep watching. So we watched all of them.
Yeah.
You on one setting you watched?
No. It was over a couple days.
Okay.
Nice. It was nice to see all the characters and they look good. They look.
Oh, yeah.
They're 6 years
You
old.
dirty dog.
That's weird.
General Iroh, I thought,
Nah, he's my spirit animal though, because he just wants to drink jasmine tea, and that's my favorite.
he is the best character in the whole series.
in the whole series, especially in the cartoon, he's amazing. But no, I just mean everybody looks like the cartoon. That's why I like live action remakes. We'll get into that later. But it was good to see everyone. But so far, I like the storyline and everything, but the acting is a little bit weird for me.
Really?
I think I need to just keep watching because just right now it's just a little bit.
Gran didn't do the best job, I thought. I don't know. Her like character, she's like, just it seems like she's just reading.
Well, it was funny because I went back and watched the cartoon and I saw Gran, and I'm like, why does she look so weird? Because they're very stylized, especially as they animated and everything in the cartoon. So I'm like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
So my kids have now gone back and they're starting to watch the cartoon again. They watched it already, but they're going back now. And then
would you let them watch the live action?
Yeah, so they've been watching it live action with us. So okay. But now they'll be like, well, this didn't happen in the cartoon. Or this is different than the cartoon. Like every 5 seconds, it's like, well, this character, the whole reason they went to this island isn't the same reason. And I'm like, it's gonna be different. Just
roll with it.
Yeah, just don't tell us. Or maybe afterward, because
I do like talking about it afterward.
Ongoing commentary. Yeah, like the whole time. I'm like, okay, that's it.
I love it.
He didn't wink there. I'm like, okay, what? It doesn't matter. But so the Avatar cartoon series, I did have a little bit of an issue with it as far as worldview stuff because so it's one of the things we do on the podcast. We talk about worldview, biblical worldview, Christian worldview, and why some of the things maybe we watch lines up with that in ways they don't and stuff like that. And so as I was thinking about this even with the live action remake, there's a lot of Eastern religion influence, like going into like meditative states and like figuring out like past lives and things like
reincarnation.
That. All the
temples of worship.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So there's all these like, and that's one of the things, like there's tons of spiritual things in this show. And so talking to your kids about those things, or even like thinking about, okay, what do I believe about this stuff, was just, I haven't had conversations yet with my kids about it, but I'm going to, because the reincarnation thing is a very interesting aspect of the Avatar, because he can access all his past avatars. I wonder what the first one, they didn't have access to anybody.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments. So, but yeah, what did you guys like? How do you navigate? Because you have young kids too, and then your wife, just her worldview. I'm just kidding. But like when you watch it, like, are there things that you thought of, or things that you were like, oh, that's an interesting take on this, or
yeah. So it wasn't necessarily with like the reincarnation or anything like that, but like I said, I haven't watched the cartoon all the way through, but with the live action, I was seeing that there were kind of two different forces. Like the Avatar, Aang, he was trying to take this new approach to being the Avatar, where he's trying to be more compassionate and focus on having a team around him and focus on serving people and doing good. And there's a lot of other past Avatars where they're like, well, you just have to be ruthless. You have to look out for yourself. No one else is going to be there for you. You have to be a team of one. And basically you have to conquer rather than trying to make it the best situation for everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
And that's in the cartoon, right?
No, he's talking about.
Oh yeah, but that's in the cartoon as well.
Yeah.
Because he's like, they're telling me to do this. He's like, and they're like, well, what do you think you should do? So maybe your past lives are lying to you.
Yeah.
That's the name of the segment.
Trustworthy people.
So the reincarnation thing has just always been interesting. Of like, if you do enough good in this life, you'll come back as something better in the next life, and like you're trying to eventually get to be a cow.
Yeah, but I don't think that this is what the show is.
You don't think it advocates
promoting? Like, it's more just like the spirit of the avatars going into somebody else, but it's not like because of their past life they live on.
Oh.
Yeah, because once it's the spirit of the Avatar, and then once they die, someone else becomes the Avatar.
Yeah, they're not born as the Avatar?
They are, but like the idea of reincarnation is that if you live a good life, then you'll come back in like a more.
So it's not
life.
you necessarily; right, it's someone else that has the Avatar spirit.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So how do you navigate this with your kids? Because if there's parents watching this with kids, or there's younger people watching this, when you see those things, like how do you process that through a biblical worldview when you say, oh, because we don't believe those things. We don't believe in reincarnation. We don't believe in these meditative states that take you into a weird place.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had to have this conversation yet.
He had visions.
Yes.
Is that the same thing?
I mean, John went up to heaven.
Yeah.
And wrote
Well, because
Revelation.
on top of the reincarnation thing, there was also talking about how there's kind of this overlap between the physical and the spiritual realm, and the fact that there is a spiritual realm. So it played with that idea too. So even though we don't necessarily believe the exact way that it applies, I think that the Christian worldview is that everything that you see physically is not all that there is a spiritual component to things as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, I was gonna say, I haven't had to have this conversation yet, but to us, it like falls into the category of the way just magic is portrayed usually.
Yeah.
And it's just like at least for the Avatar, I would say it does seem spiritual, but my kid just translates those sort of things right now as just like magic.
Yeah.
And he understands, like we've definitely had those conversations like about magic and miracles and all that kind of stuff.
He understands magic.
Yeah. No, that it's not real, and like helping him discern those things. Oh my gosh,
Jimmy. So yeah, but the worldview, I'd say, what does it say is good or bad? Like friendship, companionship is good. Doing good to those around you, so there are a lot of like Christian elements of like, oh yeah, help people out, help those that are less fortunate, look out for the little guy that can't protect themselves, like those kind of things.
Well, and I just love the idea of forming a team.
Yeah,
not being on your own, making sure you got people around you that are gonna help you be better.
Yeah, and aren't afraid to say the tough stuff. Like it's like they're like, I'm going to do this on my own. Like, no, you need help. Like you need to, and they help them work through stuff. But yeah, so how does it compare to the Christ worldview? I think like obviously we don't believe in reincarnation and things like that. Like everybody lives and dies one time, and then you're judged based on your life. And so I think like with this, so I don't know. I don't think they're saying reincarnation happens for everybody per se, do they? In the show,
not necessarily.
But
I don't think they address it.
Yeah, but yeah, the spiritual realm is very much like a lot of times don't know if the spirits are trustworthy or untrustworthy. Like, I mean, we can say that about demons, but I think for us it's a little more obvious. Well, not always actually. So there's tricky spirits out there.
Well, yeah. So it's if your kids are older, it means it's a good time to talk about discernment and like what voices you're listening to, how to check those voices compared to the Bible.
Yeah, because I mean, I think it is Paul. It says like test all spirits. Like, so if there's something in the church that feels weird or something that somebody says to you that's weird, like, okay, is this actually? Because sometimes people will say, "Oh, this is the Lord told me that you need to do this," and you're like, well, "I don't know if that's."
Well, you didn't tell me that.
So that's where you can kind of test those things. Or like maybe your friends are telling you to do something, not necessarily like, "Oh, this is a spiritual thing," but just like they're trying to get you to do something, and so you got to think, okay, is this wise? How do I test these things that? Because it's the second episode. Sorry, you're not there yet, but the Kyoshi warrior lady, Avatar, is telling him like he needs to fight and he needs to destroy and all that stuff, and that's in the cartoon series too. But he like Aang himself is like, that doesn't seem right, and so he's like wrestling with that, and so even if somebody older and wiser than you and all this stuff is telling you something, like you need to like pray about it and say, okay, God, is this where you're leading and directing, or is this just something that somebody said and all that stuff? And so I don't know. Anything else on that one?
No, that's good.
But yeah, so overall, like, is there anything that, like, is the Avatar trying to change your way of thinking in any way? Like, do you feel like with the cartoon show or with this one, is there anything like you feel like it's really pushing this forward?
I don't know. Like I said, my big takeaway was that as you're trying to make change in the world and as you're trying to do things, you can do it where you value people and you have a team with you, and you don't just try to take advantage of people and conquer them, but you really lead with what's good for everyone rather than what's just good for me.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest takeaways of the series is like the character growth. Like, that's what I really like about like at least the cartoon series. And in this one, you can already start to see it a little bit of like okay, these people think this way, and as they're meeting new people, as they're adding to their team, as they're helping people, they're realizing like, oh, maybe my way of doing things isn't always the right way, and here's what I need to change about myself. And so it's allowing like our ways to be changed by the people around us that impact us. I think that's what you were saying.
Yeah, well, and this is kind of a side note, but the other thing that I think really came through as the series went on is even the characters that you would see as like on the surface as bad and like, okay, these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
You start to see kind of their backstory and where they came from and the different hurts that they went through in their lives and how it got them to where they are. So it was basically showing that for a lot of people, we very much are a product of all the things that we've gone through. So even if someone seems very rough around the edges and seems like they're a terrible person, then you're like, oh, okay, well, if I was in similar situations, then I could see how I would turn out the same way.
Man. Yeah, the animated series it's fantastic, and so I'm hoping that this does it justice. I feel like so far it has, like the humor's still there. It's not as much, but one of the things you can do in cartoons, like you can do funny faces that like aren't.
That's what I was gonna say. My biggest thing is Sokka, but I'm like, if he mainly in the cartoon though, like because I'm like, oh, Sokka's not as funny, but I'm like, if he acted like the cartoon, it would
be
just
very weird.
Bonkers. Yeah, because it's mainly like 90% facial expression. So like you can't ask that of this actor.
Yeah, because it's like his chin will drop like and like his eyes turn to like weird circles or whatever. And so but he still does have humor. So I appreciate that they make him still kind of funny. Like he's a lighthearted character. And Aang feels a little more serious than, and I don't know, I'm only 2 episodes in.
Yeah, the whole series overall, I think, felt more serious and more dramatic.
Yeah.
Because watching that and then watching the cartoon version, I'm like, oh, this feels much more like a kid's kind of adventure story rather than like this high stakes dramatic thing.
Yeah. And it's hard to marry those two. Because if you want the really cool world building, which I think they've done a good job with, then it's hard to marry that with like kids being crazy and silly and stuff.
The Appa animation is really good too. Like I was worried about how the sky bison, how that would look, but it looks pretty cool. So cute. Yeah, but I would say so far, I mean, I think we can recommend this. I don't know. You've seen the whole series.
It's super graphic. Episode 4.
So we're just kidding. Just murders everywhere. No,
I mean, there's some scary scenes a little bit. So if you have like younger kids, maybe check them out before. But
perilous moments. Yeah, will you watch it with your 6-year-old?
Well, I was going to just watch it first, but I wanted him to see the cartoon first,
Oh, okay.
I was like,
you gotta watch
that's a big commitment.
Yeah. But I think so far, I think my kids still prefer the cartoon over it. My 6-year-old, he's like, I like this better than live. Yeah. But I don't know how much of the cartoon he's seen, but who knows? My kids are crazy. But so hey, check it out. It is fun, and we're going to, in just a minute, we're going to talk about live action remakes and why people are drawn to that in just a second. But first, it's time for Florida Foible.
Oh my!
Yes, I love it. So you're right. It was not a liver. Sorry,
it's a kidney, right?
It's a kidney.
Think you can exchange livers.
I don't know. I don't know how doctoring works. So there's this lady. She's scrolling through Instagram as many of us do from time to time, and as she's scrolling, she just sees a post from a desperate woman in Miami, and the woman's husband had a kidney transplant that didn't take, and so he needed a new kidney, and so this lady's like, well. And her name, so here's her name. It's a good name. Haley Milks.
Haley Milks.
So, right. So Haley Milks was like, hey, I can help. I got an extra kidney. So she donated a kidney, and while she's in the hospital recovering, there's a lot of, and she didn't know this person. Like this was just, she saw it on Instagram, was like, oh, I can help out. So, so people are coming by saying thank you and all this stuff, or this guy's family members. And one of the people that came by was the lady's brother, not Haley's brother, but the lady that put the original post out. And they started talking and eventually got married.
Wow.
So, hey, if you're out there looking for love,
Donate your kidney.
donate a kidney to somebody. You never know.
No, it reminds me of the plot of Why You're Sleeping, because she like helps this guy with an accident and he's in a coma, and she lies to the family because she wants to know how he's doing. So she just says she's his fiance, and they all like just let her stick around, but she ends up falling for the brother while her fake fiance was sleeping.
What the heck?
Wait, because she liked the guy that was in the coma?
Yeah,
But then liked his brother more.
She didn't know him though. She just thought he was cute, so she was like, "I want to know what's going on with him."
And just stayed around?
Yeah,
That sounds crazy.
you should watch. It's a great movie.
Who's in that movie?
Sandra Bullock.
While you were sleeping.
While you were sleeping,
Oh my goodness!
I married your brother.
It's a great movie.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it.
I've
It's
not
like a
seen it.
classic '90s rom-com.
Oh, okay. I thought it was scandalous.
No,
Scandalous.
it was not at all.
Oh man. So so hey, be kind of, and that's what Avatar is all about. Just being kind and donating kidneys.
Yeah, this is a good Florida foible today. It was not a foible, indeed.
It was I don't know what's another word that is kind. Florida.
Fantasy.
Yeah, whatever that means. All right. So, how is Hollywood tricking you into watching their movies over and over?
Remake.
So there's remakes and sequels, but there's this new. I'd say it's not a new trend, but I guess it's gaining more momentum.
Yeah.
Of live action remakes.
Yeah.
So we talked about One Piece a couple weeks ago. One Piece, they did a live action remake of that animated series, which that animated series is like thousands of episodes.
Yeah, it's great.
That's why I like Avatar, because it tells one succinct story, and it doesn't take a long time to do it. Whereas One Piece, thousands.
Still one succinct story, but it's not over yet.
The succinct is like it tells it quickly.
Okay,
So-
one full story.
Wow, excuse me. All right.
It's not just continuous.
Yeah. So starting back in the 90s, Disney started doing live action remakes of their movies. There was the 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close,
Glenn Close, yeah.
which was
That is a
fantastic.
classic,
Yeah, that one was really good. Did you see that one?
Never saw that one.
Okay,
I
well-
thought you were talking about Cruella. But
No. So yeah. So then there have been live action like spin-offs of like their like Maleficent. There was 2 of those, right?
Yeah.
And then Cruella, which was, and those are
They're
kind
not
of
remakes, they're just spin-offs, live action.
like villain origin stories. But yeah, so there was that. There was Cinderella.
We got Beauty and the Beast. We've been like Lady and the Tramp, Lion King, Jungle Book,
so many.
Peter Pan, Pinocchio, yeah, all those.
lots of them.
But then have other
Lion King?
companies.
Here's the thing about Lion King.
Oh gosh,
It wasn't really a live action remake. It was all.
Right.
It's still animated.
it's a fake action remake.
Yeah, but it was made to look real. So that's why I was
Like really,
laughing.
that's yes.
You're like, what's real anymore? Check our episode on AI. Mulan.
Oh, that was.
You said you liked that.
Yeah,
I did. Did you see that one?
I never saw it.
But again, that one changed the story.
Yeah, it does.
quite a bit, and it doesn't have the "Let's get down to
I
business."
know. I miss the music.
To defeat the hunt. Okay, it's great.
We're getting copyrighted.
Oh man, I sing
was
too
too
much.
good.
Too much. It was too good.
Too close to the real thing.
Yeah. So you have that. Then you have there's a lot of anime that recently, like Ghost in the Shell.
Oh yeah,
Cowboy
there's-
Bebop. There were several that they remade some anime, made them live action, and then what else? I feel like there's some now they're doing cartoon series like Avatar, and I feel like there's another one coming out. Moana. It's coming out this year.
Oh, I didn't know that was going to be live action.
Yeah, with The Rock playing.
The Rock is playing.
He's going to play himself?
Yeah.
Which is pretty appropriate.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So what? Why?
Why do they do it?
Why do they take these childhood treasures of ours?
Would you say that the board game, like Jumanji, it falls into this category too? Or like video games where they're now doing like they're doing a Zelda movie, Super Mario Brothers.
So Mario definitely hit on the nostalgia factor. So
Yeah.
that's where I think a lot of this stems from. Is like you have these childhood memories of these cartoon shows, these movies, board games, video games. And you're like, oh, but Jumanji is a book. It's not a board game.
Okay.
They made it into a board game, but same with Zathura.
Oh, that's right.
Zathura is like the same plot of Jumanji, except it's in space. But
interesting.
It's the same author, yeah. But yeah, so I would say for the Mario one, we talked about that on the show. Like the nostalgia factor was huge because the plot of that movie was kind of not there, and so it was just like, here's some phrases that Mario says. You're like, oh, I love that phrase. Like, like, oh, that character's in this, and then I mean, like the posters on the wall, like everything. Like there were so many hidden things that like reminded you of growing up playing Nintendo.
Right.
Games.
I said that would be nostalgia for sure.
Yes. And so I think there's this nostalgia factor that they tried to hit on of like, okay, you like these things as a kid, remember those good times. And that's what nostalgia is, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm remembering.
But do you think that's all? I mean, I think that's some of the appeal, but
what's the appeal?
For me, it's like growing. Maybe it is a different form of nostalgia, but my favorite thing is to like, and I see this a lot, like right now on Book Talk or whatever, is like the real version of a character that you like who would play this. So like my friends and I, when we like growing up, we had favorite books and series and things that we would all like have like who's gonna play who, and we would get all the cutouts and all that stuff. Like this person would play this person, and
she was crazy.
I'm just saying no. Like, and even in like I said, the Book Talk or Bookstagram world, there's like who, especially with AI now, is like who's gonna play this person when there's a movie, and people just want to see that. They want to see like a real person in that place.
Yeah, and so because I was thinking about the Harry Potter stuff, because a lot of like who play Harry Potter and all that stuff, and so they're redoing
the live, that was just crazy.
But they're making it a show so they can like dive into some of the things that.
Well, same with Lord of the Rings
in the movies. Yeah, well, I mean, it's the older stuff.
Yeah,
they're not remaking the classic Peter Jackson movies.
I'm pretty sure they're making the Fellowship again.
Oh, are they?
Oh.
I think they're trying to go do that again.
Who would do that?
I don't know.
So I do think that Hollywood, or just people that are making movies, because I think sometimes it can be a good thing where you can kind of explore and bring these characters to life. But I think at the same time, they kind of leverage these intellectual properties, these characters that you love, and just keep pushing out movies and series and merch and everything just to basically milk it for everything it's worth.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because there's a business side of it that you got to make money.
Yeah.
Right.
But then there's the like. So I did not know this, but the action figure side. So this was
super big.
I think it was either the first or second Iron Man. The bad guy was supposed to be a female, and they changed it because they wouldn't sell as many action figures of a female action figure.
Oh.
So they changed the whole movie based on what the action figures.
Well, when you look at it, the merch side of like SpongeBob was a great example where obviously SpongeBob's made a lot of impact and money just from the show itself.
Yeah.
But the merchandise on top of that, like, is so much more. So when they're thinking about that, they're trying to get it in the hands of as many people as possible.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of the line from Spaceballs. Merchandising. Everything's merchandising. They have like Spaceballs, the flamethrower, Spaceballs, the toilet paper.
But that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like Shrek is a good example where they have like 18 of those, and then Ice Age, they have so many Ice Age movies, and I think they're like, we don't even need a new story at this point. Just throw the characters and throw them in some weird situation and call it a movie.
Yeah. And so, but I was thinking about, you said the properties. So G.I. Joe and Transformers, like they made those into movies, and Transformers I think are still making movies. G.I. Joe, I think was there only 2 G.I. Joe movies? They were great. I wish they would make more of those. I really like the G.I. Joe movies, but the Transformers, the first 2 were good, and then it got weird.
I know, they just keep getting weirder.
Transformers in space, but Bumblebee was good though.
Okay,
we're gonna watch that with our kids.
Never saw it.
What? Oh, Bumblebee, yeah, fantastic. So, but I think. Yeah, they do the live action remakes because it's trying to capture a new audience, but also to kind of like, oh, these are things you remembered as a kid, but we're going to make them more adult. Not in a bad way, but just like, because Avatar, like, it's more serious now, and so now I'm watching. I'm like, I'm more in. I don't know if I'm more invested in the story, but I'm like, I want to know what's going to happen to these characters. I mean, your wife was a good example. She's like, I want to keep watching this because like it felt more serious.
Yeah. Well, with that and with One Piece, I feel like it brought a lot of new people to the world because everybody that I've talked to with One Piece, it's people like me who've never heard of it, and then or like maybe fringe on the, and then watches it and is like, this is great. I want to go back and watch the cartoon or anime, and that's what you're doing with Avatar.
Yeah, I think one interesting thing is with a different format, it makes it more widely appealing. So people will watch kind of this drama, adventure, live action thing, but they wouldn't be as inclined to watch an anime.
Yeah.
So if they kind of get their foot in the door with that, then Malia's open to watching the cartoon version when she probably would not have otherwise if she didn't see this.
Yeah, because I have a couple of friends that will not watch anything animated. And I was like, you guys are missing out on such a good storytelling mechanic, like all this stuff. Like, you're missing a ton of stuff. But then, so then when Avatar comes out in live action, like, now you can kind of watch it and get the story. Yeah, it's what you're saying. Like, they'll jump into it in a way that maybe they wouldn't before because it's now live action, which I think is dumb. If you don't watch things because they're cartoon,
but I mean, the anime culture is a culture in and of itself. Oh, yeah. And so people from the outside, they're like, okay, just a bunch of weirdos watch that, so I'm not going to watch it. But if you see, this is a good story, they're good characters, and this is engaging, and it wins you over so much, then you go and watch the cartoon version.
Yeah, and I'm for that. Did you start watching One Piece? We started like the first episode, and then
I was told to wait because they're actually remaking all of the animation, and it's supposed to be better and closer to the manga that it's based off of. So
everything's a remix.
Everything is remixed. Well, that's I think is like. There's a lot of elements to it why I think we're kind of in this sweet spot of having all of these is because there's a lot of really, really good stories out there that need to be told, or people like we now have the ability and technology to create them and make them live action. So I think that's a whole new world that's opening up. A whole new.
I know we need a live action Aladdin.
There is one.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see it.
It is okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Will Smith was the genie. Yeah.
Oh, me and Malia went to the drive-in and saw that, and I think we left after like 30 minutes.
It's not great.
It's not amazing.
Wasn't one of the remakes they were like doing 1-to-1 almost of the original?
What do you mean?
Like they did, like they took the cartoon,
like scene for scene.
Did scene for scene.
I know there was some.
That's what I was thinking.
Beauty and the Beast. I remember there was a lot of
Beauty and the Beast was really close.
Yeah. Beauty and the Beast was good. I liked that one. I liked Cinderella.
Cinderella was good.
Jungle Book. I really liked that one actually.
Yeah.
That one was fun. So I don't know. I like the live action remake stuff. I think it gets to a point, and this is where because they're going to change some characters, they're going to do some different things with it than the original, and then people just lose their minds.
Well,
like your children.
But I think that's a marketing thing too. It's like let's get people talking about this, and then.
That hasn't worked well for the Snow White remake. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
because there's 2 Snow White remakes coming out.
But there's already been Snow White and the Huntsman with what's that?
Yeah, but that wasn't Disney.
I know, but I'm just saying there's like
Keira Knightley? No, who was the
No, it was the girl
Kirsten Dunst
played Bella Swan.
Oh,
Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart, that's it. So but so there's like 2 Snow Whites and they're like kind of fighting each other. Which is funny, like behind the scenes.
I say you make that a movie.
That's what happened with Jungle Book.
Oh really?
Well.
Oh yeah, there was
the 2 Jungle Books came out at the same time.
Yeah.
That's weird.
And the Disney one had the music and stuff, and the other one was more the realistic.
Yeah, kind of like the Rudyard
Kipling. So but let us know in the comments what your favorite live action remake.
Well, we gotta talk.
Oh yeah.
What do you want to see? Live action remake.
Oh.
What would I want to see?
Yeah.
What would it be?
What would you make live action? Okay. I've got one because this is what Amos's answer would be because he talks about it all the time. He wants a Candyland movie because he wants to see like who would play Lord Licorice, who would play like Queen Frostine or whatever.
Wasn't that Wreck-It Ralph? They had basically candy.
Yeah, because that was like candy crush or whatever. But he wants to see like a movie, which I think would actually be really good, like an adventure Candyland.
Yeah. So so now if we're going board game route, Clank. For sure.
Clank. Because they had Dungeons and Dragons. They made that into a live action remake.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. But Clank, so you're basically these miners going into like this castle, but like way below, like down into the depths. And there's like a dragon, you're stealing its treasure and it's trying to get you. And there's
a board game?
Yeah, and there's monsters and stuff.
Oh my gosh, Amos would love that.
It's my favorite. So if he wants to play, I think you have to read a little bit. So
that's okay.
But yeah, I know. But so Clank, but I'm trying to think of a cartoon. I don't know if you got
the one that I was gonna make a joke of, and then I realized they actually have a live action remake, and I enjoyed it. Was Winnie the Pooh, Christopher Robin.
Oh yeah,
that was actually very good. I enjoyed that.
I have not seen that, but they also have the horror film Blood and Honey.
Did not see that one.
They're making a sequel for it already.
Oh, gosh.
Oh my goodness.
And that's another interesting part of the live action remake stuff, because now some of these properties are now becoming.
In the public domain.
Domain, yeah. So with Winnie the Pooh, immediately they had, and they're already making them before, because they know like, the public domain comes out, like it's a Steamboat Willie. They're making a horror film of Steamboat.
Of course they are.
Steamboat.
Oh my
Willie.
gosh, yeah, of course.
But a live action remake. Oh, I think so.
I would have asked for Zelda, but that's happening.
Oh, is it really? I've heard rumors. I don't know if they're true or not. But Mickey's Jack and the Beanstalk. I know there's Jack and the Giant Slayers, which they've done some Jack and the Beanstalk stuff. But Mickey's Jack and the Beanstalk was just a fun. So if they could remake that. I don't know,
who would play Mickey?
Yeah, it's too hard to like. I don't know who could do that. I don't know. I feel like there's something out there that I'm missing. And like,
so let us know in the comments. What would you want to see as a live action remake?
So
I prefer The Hobbit.
The
one that makes me furious, I have to talk about this all the time, is Ella Enchanted. It was a book and they made it into a movie.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
No, the movie is terrible.
Oh, sorry.
It's so terrible.
Okay.
I want something that goes right with the book.
That goes with
because they just
scene for scene.
They changed the entire plot. That's the thing. Is none of the stuff in the movie happens in the book.
Yeah, well, so because Angela was watching Shadow and Bone, she read the books after you recommended it, and then watched the show, and it's like very different than the book.
Yeah.
So that's what. Yeah. So sometimes like, this is good, like a good interpretation of it, and then sometimes like, this is not good. So what are they doing?
It's true.
Man, I feel like there's something on the tip of my brain. I'm like, this would be
You'll
great.
remember right after we're done.
Yeah, and I can't think of it. I'll let you know in the comments. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Worldview Finder episode 38. I'm Chris.
I'm Adrian.
And I'm Jimmy.
We'll see you next time.